Before we talk about shapes, let's talk about you. Your mind is not random. Your emotions are not random. Your life patterns are not random. They move in geometry. In Sanatan Dharma, sacred geometry is not just art, it is a technology of consciousness. It is a map showing how awareness evolves from scattered to centered, from noisy to still, from fear to freedom. Today, we travel from the smallest form, the Bindu, to the grand architecture of reality, the Shri Chakra. And the real question is not, what do these shapes mean? The real question is, what do these shapes do to the human mind? Part 1 Bindu, the point where consciousness begins. The Bindu is a single point, but spiritually, it is not a dot. It is the moment before thought is born. In Sanatan understanding, creation begins as stillness. The Bindu is the seed of the universe and the seed of your attention. Here is the secret. Your suffering is mostly a problem of attention. Your attention is scattered, leaking, pulled in 10 directions. So when the tradition gives you a Bindu, it is giving you a cure. A Bindu trains you to return to one place, because when attention becomes one-pointed, consciousness expands. This is why yogis worship the Bindu, because it is the doorway to inner silence. And when inner silence becomes stable, your life stops being ruled by impulse. Part 2 Rekha, the line, when awareness starts moving. From the Bindu comes the Rekha, the line. The line is the first movement of consciousness. Spiritually, the line represents direction. It is the birth of a journey. In the human being, this is the moment you stop being unconscious. You begin to seek. You begin to ask, who am I? You begin to feel there must be something more. The line is you turning into a seeker. But the line also creates the first split, me and life, me and others, me and God. So the line is powerful, it gives purpose, but it also creates separation. Part 3 Triangle, the first strong shape, power, desire, transformation. The triangle is the first stable structure. This is where consciousness stops drifting and becomes a force. Triangles are everything, because triangle is Shakti in motion. There are two main triangles. Upward triangle means fire, aspiration, discipline, Shiva principle. This is the part of you that wants to rise above weakness. Downward triangle means water, receiving, compassion, Shakti principle. This is the part of you that can surrender, love, and manifest life. When your upward triangle is strong but your downward triangle is weak, you become dry, rigid, egoic. When your downward triangle is strong but your upward triangle is weak, you become emotional, unstable, easily influenced. Real evolution happens when both triangles mature. When they unite, you get a sacred symbol of balance. Not suppression, not indulgence, but union. This is the stage when a human being stops being chaotic and becomes integrated. Part 4 The square is the earth principle, stability, structure, boundaries. In yantras, the square is often the outer enclosure. It is like the walls of a temple. Spiritually, this teaches something very mature. Without boundaries, there is no spiritual power. Because if your life has no container, your energy leaks into nonsense, drama, addiction, distraction, toxic relationships, etc. The square represents dharma, right living, disciplined living, clean living. A person evolves massively when they learn to say, no, this does not enter my mind. No, this does not enter my body. No, this does not enter my life. That is not limitation. That is sacred architecture. Part 5. Now consciousness learns the next lesson. Life is not a straight line. It is a cycle. The The circle represents wholeness. It has no harsh corner. It teaches inclusion. At this stage, the human being stops being obsessed with winning and starts understanding rhythm. Day and night, breath in and out, birth and death, seasons, moods, phases. The circle gives emotional intelligence because it teaches everything passes. This is a season, not my identity. And when you understand cycles, you stop panicking and start living. Part 6. Lotus. The lotus is the most beautiful spiritual psychology ever created. It grows in mud, but it blooms clean. That is the human story. Your life may be messy, your past may be heavy, your environment may be imperfect, but your consciousness can still bloom. In yoga, many chakras are drawn as lotus wheels because enlightenment is not a sudden magic switch. It is unfolding, petal by petal, layer by layer, shadow by shadow, breath by breath. At this stage, the person becomes softer, wiser, more loving. Not weak, soft, because softness that comes from awareness is strength. Part 7, 5 and 6. Now we enter the intelligence of the body. 5 represents the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space. Your body is a temple of these elements. Your mind is a mixture of these elements. Even your emotions follow these elements. When you understand this, you stop judging yourself. You start observing yourself. Today my fire is high. Today my water is disturbed. Today my air is restless. This is advanced self-mastery in simple language. 6 represents balance, harmony, and union. It is the symbol that says, stop fighting yourself, unite your opposites. Part 8. Spiral. The spiral is the shape of real transformation, because real change is not linear. You don't heal once and finish forever. You revisit patterns, but at deeper levels. That is spiral growth. That's why Kundalini is described as coiled energy. When it awakens, it rises through the chakras. Your awareness climbs, your identity changes, your addictions drop, your relationships shift, your intuition opens. Spiritual growth feels like a spiral because you are circling the same themes: power, love, fear, desire, ego. But each time you meet them with more awareness. Part 9. Golden ratio. Now we come to something subtle: proportion. The golden ratio is not a magic number. It is a sign of natural harmony. In Sanatan tradition, beauty is not separate from spirituality. Beauty is a doorway. That is why temples follow sacred proportions. That is why murtis have precise measurements. That is why yantras are drawn with rules. Because when proportion is correct, the mind becomes quiet. The nervous system relaxes. And when the nervous system relaxes, awareness becomes available. So beauty is not luxury. Beauty is medicine. Part 10. Shri Chakra. The full blueprint of consciousness. Finally we reach the Shri Chakra, the crown of sacred geometry. This is not just a symbol. It is a complete map of reality. A palace of the Divine Mother. 9 triangles interlock, Shiva and Shakti woven together, creating the universe as a living pattern. And here is the real teaching. Your consciousness evolves the same way. At first, you are a scattered outer world person. Then you become structured. Then you become balanced. Then you become compassionate. Then you become refined. Then you return to the Bindu, from many to one. The Shri Chakra is basically saying, everything you are seeking outside is a geometry inside you. And when you finally reach the center, you realize something shocking. The center was never missing. Only your attention was missing. So what are these shapes? They are stages of consciousness. After all these shapes, after all this evolution, it doesn't end in some fancy cosmic fireworks. It ends in a return. Because every shape was secretly training you for one thing: to come back to the center. The seeker runs in lines, the achiever builds triangles, the disciplined one lives in squares, the wise one moves in circles. The heart blooms like a lotus, the body learns elements, the soul grows in spirals, the mind relaxes in sacred proportion, and the Sri Chakra shows you the whole universe. But then it whispers the final instruction. Now return to Bindu. Return to that single point where you are not performing, not explaining, not becoming, just being. Because the end of spiritual growth is not complexity, it is simplicity with depth. So if you have watched till here, don't just collect this as information. Do something ancient and powerful. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Feel one point inside you, between the eyebrows or in the heart. One point, one breath, one presence. That's where the whole journey began. And that's where I need to return now to. Back to Bindu. Om Namah Shivaya.